Hello, welcome to Redneck Archaeology. We've got something brand new. No one's seen this yet. This is a brand new discovery. Even archaeology does not know of this. The reason I'm making this video, if you know anything about archaeology, well, I just want to get this out there to the public first, let you all discern for yourselves, and it's going to be some really cool stuff. But you're going to have to hang out for a bit because I have a bit of a hand axe to grind, okay? Well, if you know anything about archaeology and archaeologists and archaeological academia, you will know that they are adamant that there are no faces on stone. I mean, you could not convince them with anything. I mean, well, thus far, they have never been presented with this much or this kind of evidence, okay? Here's the thing about that. You know, I personally have never presented to them anything with faces on it and tried to, tell them it was anything. I knew better. I already know how they are about that stuff. And, I got to thinking about that. And you know what? If you would ask one of them, what scientific reason or evidence is there to support your skepticism of faces on stone? Guess what? You will not get an answer. There is absolutely no scientific reason for their skepticism. Yet, man, you mentioned they'll get an eye roll and come on, really? And you persist, they will get irritated. And I'm just aware of this, and I have witnessed it on websites and whatnot, but yeah, I know a bit about human nature, and it didn't take me long to figure out, that sure seems like a conditioned response. Conditioned response. Well, I mean, what possible reason could they have, for this to be a subject of ridicule to them, okay? Well, because I'm telling you, if you take into account human nature when it comes to, ancient people, the real question would be, why wouldn't they express themselves on stone in this manner? Well, I can tell you this. It would seem that it has been a part of their curriculum that they are made aware that they just can't bring any embarrassment down upon, the archaeological community, and that if they did something, I mean, just so stupid, like, investigate something as preposterous as faces on stone, well, they could be responsible for the entire archaeological community, their colleagues, their careers, everything, even the science being discredited. That, I don't know, that just seems so fishy to me, as, like I said, there is no reason, absolutely none whatsoever, to think that ancient people would not do that. I mean, that's all these people had was stone. Okay? And it is basic human nature to think about one's own legacy. I mean, hey, if all you got is stone, that's all you possess. I mean, that's the only, stone, maybe some wood and some hide. Well, none of the other two are going to last very long, so stone. Not only that, I found some very interesting things about this that lead me to other conclusions. And, okay, well, first, let's start off with, believe it or not, most of what you see here was not collected with any knowledge of facial likenesses. They weren't noticed. These were collected purely because of functionality, ergonomics, wear, which led me to believe they were indeed stone tools. And this began nearly 2 years ago. And it has only been like maybe the last 3 months since this part of it has developed. And of course I had to reanalyze everything I'd already been through. And sure enough, I find these facial embellishments. And you know what? That's not the half of it, Well, of course, okay, archaeological academia will, of course, dispute this with their typical speculation of naturally occurring. And I say speculation because, indeed, that is what it is. I mean, what is their comparison model? I mean, if you're talking pot lid effect, hey, we've seen that. This is not pot lid effect. And, well, look at the number of these things here. What are the odds of this happening, naturally? Not only what are the odds of natural forces placing these faces on these stones, but also what are the odds it would produce multiple facial embellishments upon each stone? Let's see if I can focus here. Okay. You see there's another face, eye, nose, mouth. Another one, eye, nose, mouth. And each one of these, indeed, has multiple facial embellishments applied. It's just ridiculous that they have done this for so long. And it just, honestly, I mean, specifically faces on stone. If that doesn't make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up when you look at this, I don't know what will. I mean, it's already been proven that, archaeologists, higher up in the hierarchy have covered up evidence or suppressed evidence which contradicted their own theories. So, in effect, they're just placing their own egos and arrogance above the science and the knowledge gained. Man, that if you've seen the Wilson Crook lecture on rethinking ancient American history, well, you should know the profound statement he had made about that very thing. He says, "This is not archaeology." Damn right it ain't. He also made one other comment, and that's about the only thing in that lecture that was really that important, but he made one other comment that was very revealing as well. and he was discussing two of the mammoth kill sites, which are, were predated the original 13,000 BP, of man's arrival. And one was the Heber site, I believe it's Wisconsin. One was the Topper site in South Carolina. They produced a total between the two. The Heber site had 2 artifacts, stone artifacts. The Topper site had 1 artifact. And as he's displaying the images, he says, "What are these boring things?" Boring. Meaning, they weren't the shiny bifaced projectile points that, all them treasure hunters are out there to get. I mean, oh, hey, it's not the, bright shiny objects that seem to attract so much archaeological attention. But, I've been interested in archaeology for forever. I mean, when I was a kid, I dug that stuff. And I've always, scoped out all their, documentaries and all that. And yeah, I do know about stone tool identification. And I did submit much of my theories and pictures of what I believe were stone tools. And I was rejected. But of course they were kind enough to give me all these lessons in stone tool identification. Well, it starts out with, well, none of these have conchoidal fracture. Whew. Conchoidal fracture. And they're not talking about, just conchoidal fracture by definition. They're talking about repeated conchoidal fracture along an edge producing, a sharp serrated edge, whatever. In other words, if there isn't that guarantee, they're not interested at all. Because, see, they searched for more than a century for any evidence of life prior to Clovis. And, wow, they come up empty-handed. Well, my question for them is, what were you looking for? Now, I'm not gonna tell you that any of this stuff was easy to find. That's really it. It took a long time to actually figure out these tools, and I mean the first one, it was the functionality, and I didn't start out hunting for artifact or anything. I'm just out looking for nappable stone. That would do some flint napping. The first tool I found, let's see if I've got something similar. I know I do. And there's one up here somewhere. Oh, there's one. Right here. Well, similar to this. Okay. Don't look like much, but see the sharp part here. And pretty much that's it. As far as I knew, anyway. But the first one I had found, I looked at that and I noticed there was a lot of alteration on this edge and on this side specifically. And I figured out that alteration was for ergonomic fit. Now, all of the smaller tools, and most of them have the same functionalities. Yes, being multi-tools, if you will. This being very interesting, though, because it's an obvious sharp edge. See how that one is? It's flaked on both sides. And that's another thing. Percussion flake scars, man, I don't know if they can actually be produced by any other way than man producing them, simply because of the velocity required for the impact strike to, produce that kind of energy for that flake removal. Honestly, I really didn't know there was any other way. I didn't expect anyone to say it wasn't a tool. It was always my understanding, hey, that's percussion flake scars. That's one of the first tool identification means that you can use. Ergonomics, another, wear, functionality, those are methods. You can Google that. You can find videos. Smithsonian Institute produced videos that will show you those exact same methods of tool identification, and yet I'm getting this complacent rejection and speculation. Oh, they're most likely naturally occurring. Yeah. Well, let's look at something else here. Let's prove a little bit of intent. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you something about these tools and the embellishments. Okay. In order to embellish a stone, back then there's only really one method, and that required you removing material in one way or another. Okay. If you remove material, that will leave, of course, sunken relief, right? Now here's the thing. Most of these are monochromatic, okay? Meaning they're basically just one color. And the way our vision works, of course, is light reflecting off of a surface. That's pretty much it, okay? So, oh, hang on. No, I don't have one here. Okay. But, as in fact, the reason guys are seeing what you're seeing, if you're seeing anything at all, if you're not seeing anything but, naturally occurring stone, then it's likely you are an archaeologist. But with light reflecting directly off that surface, you would not be able to really see relief because it's all the same color. Okay. The only way they can be seen is the same way they were intended to be seen, and that is shadowy angles from the light. Okay. And they're made to be viewed in the hand, and pictures, even video, aren't really that hot at it. But what we've got here, okay, you've got a mouth, you've got a nose, and you've got an eye. And it's a partial head, right? But you'll see the scratching which made this lip or the mouth, okay? You also see some little light scratching here. And like I said, these guys, I think it was like a game. I mean, they embellished many faces. I mean, there are faces within faces. There are faces that share eyes or nose or mouths or whatever. And around every corner, it's like it changes. And this was one of those things, because you see the shading. Now, if you turn it the other way, oh, look. Now what do you see? Those scratches are now the eyes and mouth of a different face. You see that? Now, if that's not intent, by golly, I don't know what is. And as far as the functionality and stuff, look, I will be making more videos about this, and I'm telling you, if you look down there at the bottom where it says number of views, well, puts you in a pretty elite group of people that are knowledgeable of this. I mean, no one really knows this. There's like 2 other people currently that know about it. And I'm telling you, there's just so much to learn from this. I mean, it is way cool. It is way cool. But like I said, for the most part, it is mere embellishment. I mean, they didn't carve an entire face. For the most part, they didn't do that. What they did was, if there was something already, on the rock or whatever, and I can tell you the inspiration for this right now. I can tell you why this, why they did this. And I have to go no further than my own debitage pile to see it. Debitage being basically the byproduct of flint knapping. It's just, the stuff you chip away. And this stuff, for the most part, it is flakes, meaning it was removed from a larger body of stone. And here's another. Let's talk about other stone tool methods and identification methods. If you look at this, if you look at this surface, you get focused on it. Oh, come on. You'll see these little pockmark, little divots, dents, okay? Usually the surface of stone won't just have little divots. It will also have little rises. I mean, it'll just be uneven up and down. But you'll see it's basically a flat surface with divots into it. That's a pretty good sign of grinding or pecking and grinding. Okay. Pecking and grinding is, they take one stone, they put a point on it or whatever, and they peck the heck out of these because this is super hard stuff. This isn't like flint and chert and jasper. Those things are kind of brittle. And in fact, when they weren't, creating thin bifaced edges and such, those would not have actually been the best suited stone for what they were doing with these things. And one of the functionalities, I believe, is like a little three-corner awl. And those are the two most common, is that cutter. And this cutter, I refer to it as a gut hook cutter because it works, with the same basic principles as the modern gut hook on your hunting knives. Okay? And the thing about that is, in this ergonomics, and like I said, almost all the smaller tools, they're all used with a 3-finger or a thumb and 2-finger ergonomics. It's held between the thumb and the middle finger, and the ergonomic relief for that middle finger is very important. If you do a lot of writing, how you can get a blister or a callus. These tools you could use all day long. These are stone tools. You could use them all day long and never raise a blister. That's how good the ergonomics were, and for good reason. The gloves hadn't been invented yet. They didn't have hand lotions and whatnot. But the leverage you can produce when you pull this in, you couldn't possibly create any more leverage than that right there. Ask an ergonomics professor. I'm sure he'll agree with that. Okay. And, in lieu of the, serrated sharp edges, that would have been a pretty, decent alternative. Like I said, sometimes may have been more of a controlled rib, but hey, what are they really cutting with these things, generally game hide and stuff like, you can process game with many of these tools. I believe actually are specifically for processing game. But they're okay. Another thing about the identification. Here's the thing. Modern perception of tools is a combination or a marriage of form and function. Well, it's easy enough to look at a shiny bifaced projectile point and say, yes, indeed, that must be a tool, right? But these are simply functionalities which are incorporated into nearly any shape of flake, okay? And to actually incorporate those two functionalities, the yawl and the gut hook cutter, took like 3 strikes, not including the one that removed the flake from the larger body to begin with. And that's just it. Anybody could create them. It did not take a flint knapper to create these, and you will see a lot of individuality. Okay. Now, can you imagine though, the entertainment? They've provided me a lot of entertainment. Don't kid yourself, but these guys probably exchange these things sitting around a campfire or something at night, and seeing who could spot the most faces on somebody else's stone, or if they could spot all of them, whatever. And now, like I said, all the tools seem to have embellishments on them, even the biggest ones. This is like the biggest tool I have here. Is this is a big old hammerstone. You see the little face embellished on you? You see the mouth was pretty much, it might have been naturally there, and they just kind of embellished an eye or two, and that's how it is. I mean, but it was the tools that they used the most and carried a lot, and I think that was these smaller ones that have the most embellishments applied. And as I said, I'm telling you, these all have multiple embellishments. You see that? Okay. Let me get her focused in, hopefully. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Somewhere, I'm sure we'll find some other face. Oh, well, there's like a bird or a duck, and look at that there. Looks like, hey, that could be some type of functionality, right? Some type of tool right there, it would appear. And let's see. Oh, like I said, there are multiple embellishments, and I'm trying to look around the camera here to, there you go. This guy, see, eyes, nose, buck teeth. They're all that way. Now, you tell me, what are the odds that that's naturally occurring? Anyone? Anyone? Go ahead and shout it out if you know it. They ain't very good odds that could happen. And here's another thing: when they use their that mere speculation of naturally occurring, it's crazy. But what have none of them realized that any of those natural forces that they claim are responsible for this stuff can be reproduced? Yeah, that's right. The steam, the hot, the cold, the turbulent water delivery system. Hey, throw a load of rocks in your washing machine. Let's see how many faces you come up with. What do you think? So anyways, like I said, I do have a lot of tools here. There's really cool stuff here. There's a lot of information, and here's the thing that, you will find this out eventually, but when the numbers of these things are truly realized, it will blow your flippin' mind. Well, you think about it. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years. How long have we been here, in North America? What, a couple hundred, 300, 400, 500. Think about that. How hard is it to find evidence that we are here? Not very hard. There's traces of us everywhere. So why wouldn't there be traces of them? Man, I don't know what else I can say. I'm really trying to preempt what archaeology is inevitably, gonna do. And first, they're gonna try and discredit me and tell you that, well, of course, I'm not an archaeologist. I have no formal archaeological training, and that's okay, because I'm pretty much crediting this whole discovery on that very fact. Okay. And I think the only other thing they actually have is that naturally occurring thing. If that's it, I don't know. I'll tell you what, honestly, if there's anything else I can do to convince you, just let me know. See, something like this, this is just, how is that a tool? And when I found this one, it took me a bit too, and when I realized it, I was like, oh my God, really? But you'll see there's like some removal here, a little removal there, and removal, or actually wear right here on the end. Okay, this thing fits like a freaking glove, man, and it centers the percussion or the impact in like the strongest part of the hand that's gonna be able to take that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you use this thing all day and you're not gonna get a blister. Another one of the first ones I found was this one. And if you look at the shape of it, now this has been ground, okay? And I saw that, and I thought, man, that's something. When I put it in my hand, there once again, the ergonomics are so perfect. I mean, there's no slippage, there's a comfortable fit, there's nothing rubbing, nothing scraping. You can use the damn thing all day, and it's not going to mess you up. Now, like I said, you can get on there and search like YouTube for stone tool identification videos, and you are going to find pretty much the same things I've discussed here with you. Okay, and man, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know how they can dispute this, but you know they have to. They pretty much have to. Of course, I'm going to tell you right now, that will likely separate the scientist from the egotist. Because there are both. There are true scientists there. But, you know, when their hands are tied by, you know, the hierarchy and archaeological academia, well, there's not much science getting done there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they can only do what they're allowed to do, and man, it's crazy that they I can't believe, you know, they don't realize that when you say faces on stone, their scientific objectivity is right out the window. They don't even think, they're just reacting. It's crazy that they can do that, because this is theoretical science, okay? I don't think it's I don't think you're supposed to just, you know, blow off any possibility without thorough investigation. That's just not right. I mean, we know what the definition of theory is, but above all, shouldn't that suggest that, hey, it's theory. You always got to keep one eye open for alternate possibilities. Am I not right? You know what, guys? I would greatly appreciate you weighing in on this. Like I said, I'm letting this out there to you guys first, because I be honest, I trust your opinion before I trust theirs, because I already know what, you know, they're predisposed to, you know, reject it just because, well, for one thing, they didn't discover it first. And the fact that they spent more than a century searching and have actually abandoned that search. Whoa. I mean, seriously, they abandoned the search after a little over a century? Answer this for me. How long was the world flat? You know? They're so terrified of ridicule. Well, can you tell me when there was any major breakthroughs that, you know, in humanity that did not come with some ridicule, that did not, you know, did not destroy previous knowledge? Man, that's what science is about. If you're afraid, you got no business. You know, there's that. I think that assistant manager job at McDonald's is still open. Maybe they'll accept PhDs there. You know, this stuff to them, this is an insult to their intelligence. Well, I'd say that's pretty much impossible. You know, it's pretty hard to insult a framed piece of paper that hangs on the wall behind your desk. you know? And I'm telling you right now, I'm no genius, and I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. I was like a D average high school dropout. Nah, just kidding. I did graduate, but yeah. Okay. So, but this stuff, honestly, it's it's just logical, common sense, and they think they have the market cornered on that since they went to school all them years. Well, they did gain a lot of knowledge, but that knowledge was already known. Okay, that doesn't mean you have the ability to learn. I mean, you can be taught, but can you learn? Yeah. So, I mean, I do have a serious beef with that, man. I mean, I have for a while. I mean, here's the thing. How does a bovine certified Ivy League speculator, how do they think they can even relate to people who were, lived in the wild? How would they know what these daily task words? You know what gravers are? The name gravers, you know why they call them gravers? They suspect they were used for engraving. Oh, that had to be an important job, hacking your life out of the wilderness. That had to be, who would go out there without a monogram spear, Seriously, sometimes I really, really wonder about that. And that's one of the reasons this is called Redneck Archaeology, because I can tell you right now, it was basically a redneck skill set that allowed me to recognize the tool for what it was. If I didn't hunt and process my own game and things like that, sure, I probably wouldn't have much of an idea either. But I think any old redneck's going to have a lot better chance of actually relating to these ancient people than some city slicker with whatever. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but hey, if that PhD isn't doing any more good than is then being that proof that you're super smart. Well, maybe you want to just take it to the bathroom with you next time, because that's basically what she's worth. I mean, I hate being, that way to anybody, but they've had it coming. I mean, they have turned this a science of human origins into nothing more than a science of ego, arrogance, and their own little treasure hunts. That's it. I don't think the science means a damn thing to them. It's all everybody for themselves and see who can get the most glory out of it. And hey, let's not embarrass ourselves by being wrong. And you know what? If I was wrong about this, that'd be fine, as long as it was proven and not just speculated. I don't mind being wrong as long as knowledge is gained and the truth is learned. That's all I'm after, man. I was never out here treasure hunting, glory hunting, or artifact hunting. None of that. This came on me by accident. But you know what? It was evident that that they didn't give a damn and they weren't going to do anything about it, because I had contacted several of them multiple times, even after I had developed an idea of the functionalities and everything. I sent them videos of how these things are used. I didn't even get a response. Okay, I guess that's why you got Dennis Stanford was out there chasing these the Clovis lithics, chasing the origins of that. Around the globe, and by golly, he came home empty-handed. Imagine that. Just the same as they do every time they're trying to figure out the Native American origins. There's always seems to be some little piece missing. And no one can figure that out. It's quite a shame, man. And if that's science, I'm a monkey's uncle. Okay? If you guys can't do any better than that, hey, go ahead and send me some of that grant money or, whatever with, and we'll make some good use of it, because I do not have a microscopic lab. I do not have a, carbon dating facility. I thought about putting them in, but I just didn't want to move my boat outside, all right? So, hey guys, honestly, I greatly appreciate you checking this out, and I promise you I will make some more videos, and you'll learn a lot more about this stuff if you're interested, because I'm telling you, this is truly a really big thing in the world of archaeology. Well, they'll consider it quite the pain in the butt, but you know, like I said, for the job they've been doing, they've had this coming, and hey, that's what you get. And by the way, guys, that is why they call it theory, right? All right, appreciate it, guys. Please weigh in and share this video, whatever. Get it to everyone you can. You know, whether or not you buy into it. If you don't, just let me know. If you do, let me know. I would really love to hear from you, because, you know, I mean, I had pictures of these. I'm sending them off to friends. What do you see here? What do you see? I'm just hoping somebody says, faces? So far, everybody has. I was like, oh, thank God, because it was either that or you're seeing me being fit for a straitjacket. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And we'll see you next time here on Redneck Archaeology, where we're getting her done without a PhD.